So we're continuing from last week. We're talking about the meaning of ibadah. And we're at the end of that before the Sheikh changes subjects. The author said, فَإِنْ قَالَ هَؤُلَاء وَأَمْثَالُهُمْ أَلَيْسَ وَرَدَ فِي تَفْسِيرٍ اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله والمسيح ابن مريم أن عبادتهم لهم طاعتهم فيما حرموا وحللوا من تلقاء أنفسهم. So if they were to say, they or their likes, those Wahhabis, هؤلاء وأمثالهم, and who are like them, those who are influenced by them, didn't it come in the tafsir, the interpretation of the ayah, that means they took their rabbis and their monks as lords, meaning gods, instead of Allah, and the Masih, the son of Mary. If they were to say, didn't it come in the tafsir that their worship of those rabbis and monks was concerning their obedience to them in what they deemed lawful or unlawful from themselves? So they say, so that's you. فالجواب أن ذلك داخل تحت هذا التعريف. The answer is that this case that you're mentioning, this is included under this definition that we are saying. What you're talking about, it is really worship. Under this definition, al-inqiyad wa tadallul, this inqiyad, submission or yielding, and tadallul, which is submitting, subservience or debasement, being low. فَإِنَّهُمْ انْقَادُوا وَتَذَلَّلُوا لَهُمْ فِي ذَلِكَ. Because in this case, they did indeed yield themselves and submit themselves to those authorities of theirs in this way. لأنهم كانوا يعتقدون أنهم يستحقون أن يطاعوا في ذلك حقيقة, because they were believing that those authorities of theirs were deserving of that, entitled to that obedience, that they be obeyed in that way truly. To believe that if they said it's halal, and really. And if they said it's haram, then it's haram really. وَلَيْسَ الَّذِي حَصَلَ مِنْهُمْ مُجَرَّدَ أَنَّهُمْ أَطَاعُوهُمْ. And what those people did was not merely that they obeyed their authorities in this case. فإن المسلم قد يطيع من له عليه رئاسة في المعصية. Indeed, a Muslim might obey someone who has authority over him in a sin, لكنه لا يطيعه على الوجه الذي أطاعته النصارى أحبارهم ورهبانهم. But he wouldn't be obeying that authority in the way that the Christians obeyed their priests and their monks. فلا يكونون عابدين لرؤسائهم كأولئك. So then they won't be worshipers of their heads, of their leaders, like those Christians were. وكذلك مجرد الطاعة لمخلوق في المعصية ليس عبادة له وإشراكا بالله. Likewise, mere obedience to a creation in a sin is not worship of that creation, and it is not assigning a partner with Allah. وإنما الطاعة التي يكفر فاعلها هي الطاعة التي مع غاية التذلل والتعظيم. Merely the obedience whose performer is deemed a disbeliever, it is the obedience that is associated with the extent of servitude or debasement and glorification. وهذا مراد من قال من اللغويين العبادة طاعة. This is the intent of the linguists who merely said العبادة طاعة. Worship is the obedience. فكأنهم قالوا الطاعة المخصوصة. It's as if they said the particular obedience, the special obedience. And what's that special obedience? It's the ultimate obedience. And the meaning of the ayah, ومعنى الآية أنهم كما عبدوا المسيح بقولهم هو الله أو هو ابنه. The meaning of the ayah is that just like they were worshiping Al-Masih by saying he's God or he's the son of God, وهو بريء من ذلك كذلك القرآن أخبرنا بأنهم اتخذوا أحبارهم أي علماءهم ورهبانهم أي الذين اتخذوا صوامع بعيدة عن الناس أربابا من دون الله. So the meaning of the ayah is that just like they were worshiping Al-Masih by saying he is God or the son of God, though he is clear of that, like they did that, also the Quran informed us that they were taking their scholars, their rabbis, yani, so ahbarahum, yani their scholars is literally what it means, they're scholars. And waruhbanahum, and their monks. And who are they? Those who had taken huts far away from the people, the monks. They took them as lords instead of Allah Ta'ala. أي عبدوهم من دون الله. Meaning they worship them instead of Allah. لأنهم اعتقدوا أنه لهم حق التحليل والتحريم. Because they believed that those people had the right to legalize and illegalize. This is not even for a prophet. Allah Ta'ala could give the prophet a choice. وَلِأَنَّ الَّذِي يَقُولُ لِشَخْص اعْتَرِفْ عِنْدِي بِذُنُوبِكَ أَنَا أَغْفِرُهَا لَكَ. And because the one who says to someone, to a person, confess to me your sin, and I shall forgive you for it. فَقَدِ ادَّعَى الْأُلُوهِيَّةَ لِنَفْسِهِ. He has claimed godhood for himself. لِأَنَّ ذَلِكَ لَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. Because that would not be but for Allah. Wallahu yaqul, Allah says, وَمَن يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ. Who forgives the sins but Allah? معناه لا أحد يستطيع أن يغفر الذنوب لمن عصى إلا الله. Its meaning is that no one is able to forgive the sins of anyone who disobeyed except Allah. لأن دعوى الربوبية لها وجوه. Because the claim of godhood has facets. من جملتها أن يعتقد الإنسان أن للعبد حق التحليل والتحريم. Amongst them is for someone to believe that a slave has the right to deem lawful or unlawful. أو مغفرة الذنوب, or to forgive the sins. أو الإيجاب لبعض الأشياء. أو الإيجاب لبعض الأشياء. I'll review inshallah or ask what does that mean. فائدة, benefit. قال الله تعالى, said Allah Ta'ala, قل هل ننبئكم بالأخسرين أعمالا الذين ضل سعيهم في الحياة الدنيا وهم يحسبون أنهم يحسنون صنعا. Say, shall we inform you of those whose deeds are futile, those whose striving is in vain in the dunya life, though they reckon that they are doing something good? قال سيدنا علي رضي الله عنه في هذه الآية, said our sire Ali, may Allah accept his deeds, concerning this ayah, إنها تعني أصحاب الصوامع النصارى الذين يظنون أنهم يحسنون العمل وهم ليس لهم في الآخرة إلا النار. Indeed, this verse refers to the Christian monks who lived in the huts, those who thought that they were doing a good deed, and they do not have in the afterlife any share. لِكَوْنِهِمْ عَبَدُوا غَيْرَ اللَّهِ, because they worshipped other than Allah. أي تذللوا لغير الله غاية التذلل, meaning that they submitted themselves to other than Allah with the ultimate submission. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Like Wahhabis, in the sense that they think they're on the right religion and they do whatever they do. Might have a big prostration mark on his forehead. Those ones were monks, mushriks, nothing for their deeds. قال المؤلف رحمه الله, said the author, may Allah have mercy on him, الواحد الأحد الأول القديم الحي القيوم الدائم. The one, الواحد, the one without a partner. Al-Ahad, the one who is indivisible. Al-Awwal, the one that no one existed, nothing existed before him. Al-Qadim, the one who has no beginning for his existence. Al-Hayy, the living, with the capital L, that's adjective, or the alive, or the alive one. Al-Qayyum, has many meanings. Allahu A'lam, yani, if I would translate Al-Qayyum, I would translate it as God. Ad-Da'im, the one who has no end for his existence. الشرح أن معنى الواحد الذي لا ثاني له. The explanation is that the meaning of al-wahid is the one who has no second. أي لا شريك له, meaning no partner. في الألوهية, in godhood. فالله واحد لا من طريق العدد. And so Allah is one, but not from the perspective of numbers. وأما الأحد فقال بعض العلماء هو بمعنى الواحد. Concerning Al-Ahad as the name of Allah, some scholars said it has the meaning of Al-Wahid, the one who has no second, meaning no partner. وقال بعضهم الأحد هو الذي لا يقبل الانقسام. And some of them said Al-Ahad is the one who does not accept division. That means splitting. لا يقبل الانقسام والتجزؤ, and partitioning. أي ليس جسما, meaning he is not a body. لأن الجسم يقبل الانقسام عقلا, because the body accepts division intellectually, not in imagination. The imagination can split the body also, but we're not talking about imagination. In mental judgment. Wallahu laysa jisma, and Allah is not a body. والجسم ما له طول وعرض وعمق وسمك وتركيب. And the jism is what has length and width or breadth and depth and samk. I'm not sure how to translate samk there. And tarkib, composition. ويقال الجسم ما تركب من جوهرين فأكثر. And it is said, the body, the jism, is what is composed of two particles or more. Alhamdulillah. So here the Shaykh, may Allah have mercy on him, he gave us two ways to define a body. So one way would, let's say, imply that the minimum of a body is 8 pieces. And the other way says that the minimum of a body is 2 pieces. So here he says, وَالْجِسْمُ مَا لَهُ طُولٌ وَعَرْضٌ وَعُمْقٌ. The body is something that has 3 dimensions. وَسَمْكٌ وَتَرْكِيب. And it has composition. What you call, and it is said, so that's another way of saying it. It's not exactly the same thing though. So why does this imply 8 pieces? They said a single particle is a speck. And you won't get a line until there's another particle with that speck. Those 2 specks will make a line. Then this line is, it's a dimension. Then if you got another line, so that's 2 more specks, So now 4 together, then what you have is a surface. One surface. Where's the other surface? They said, so then you bring 4 more specks. Then those 8 specks, they made something that has 2 surfaces, length, width, and depth. And others, they said, it's what's made from 2 particles or more, at least. And the Sheikh says in one spot that the word jism in the language, in the most absolute sense, implies composition. Composition has to be a minimum of 2. You can't have composition without 2. قال أهل التنزيه الله موجود لا كيفية له ولا كمية or ولا كمية. The people of exaltation said, yani the people of God's exaltation, they said, Allah exists. He is existent without any modality or how or way about him, and without any dimensions. ومعنى الأول الذي لا ابتداء لوجوده. The meaning of al-awwal, literally the first, is the one who has no beginning for his existence, or the one that no one existed before him. Yani, the meaning of being the one that no one existed before him is the one who has no beginning for his existence. فهو وحده الأول بهذا المعنى. And so he alone is al-awwal with this meaning, the first. وكل ما سوى الله كان معدوما. And everything other than Allah was non-existent. ثم صار موجودا. Then it became existent. وبمعناه القديم. And having its same meaning is the name Al-Qadim, the eternal, the one whose existence preceded the existence of others. Al-Qadim. إذا أطلق على الله. That's what it means when it's attributed to Allah. Al-Qadim. لأن قدم الله ذاتي وليس زمنيا. Because the eternality of Allah is a self-attribute, and it is not temporal. It's not related to time. وقد ورد في تعداد أسماء الله الحسنى القديم وإن لم يثبت إسناده. There did come in some of the listings of God's greatest names, Al-Qadim, although the chain of narration is not confirmed for it. لكن أجمعت الأمة على جواز إطلاق القديم على الله. However, the nation has agreed to the permissibility of using Al-Qadim for Allah. ذكره الحافظ الزبيدي في شرح إحياء علوم الدين. The Hadith headmaster Az-Zabidi mentioned that in the explanation of Ihya Ulum ad-Din. ويدل على ذلك أيضا ما ورد من أنه صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يقول. And what proves that also is what came that he sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to say, إذا أراد دخول المسجد, when he wanted to enter the masjid, أعوذ بالله العظيم وبوجهه الكريم وسلطانه القديم من الشيطان الرجيم. He used to say this, what I just said for you. It means, I seek refuge with Allah the Great and with Wajhihi al-Kareem. I don't know the tafsir of that. وَسُلْطَانِهِ الْقَدِيمِ, and his eternal dominion, which is his ownership. That's an attribute of his self. I seek refuge with Allah and these attributes of Allah, مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ, from the accursed devil. Rawahu Abu Dawood. That's narrated by Abu Dawood. Wal hadithu isnaduhu hasan. And this hadith, its chain of narration, is fair. فإذا ثبت جواز إطلاق القديم على سلطان الله تعالى. And so, if it is confirmed that it's permissible to use al-qadim for Allah's attribute of sultan, which is dominion, exalted is he, jaza itlaquhu ala that, then it is permissible to use it for the self of Allah. And there's other hadiths like this. وَمَعْنَى الْحَيِّ إِذَا وُصِفَ اللَّهُ بِهِ, and the meaning of al-hayy, the living, or the alive, or the ever-living, some said. إِذَا وُصِفَ اللَّهُ بِهِ, if Allah were described with this word al-hayy, its meaning is أَنَّهُ مَوْصُوفٌ بِحَيَاةٍ أَزَلِيَّةٍ أَبَدِيَّةٍ, that he is attributed with a life eternal and everlasting. لَيْسَتْ بِرُوحٍ وَلَحْمٍ وَدَمٍ, it is not of soul and flesh and blood, وَعَصَابٍ, and nerve, وَمُخ, and marrow. بل حياته صفة قديمة قائمة بذاته. Rather, his life is an attribute eternal, confirmed by his self. تقتضي صحة الاتصاف بالعلم والقدرة والإرادة. It dictates the validity of being attributed with knowledge and power and will. Very important statement here. Yani, so haya, life, is a what? It's a ma'na, it's a meaning. And so this meaning implies something. Because if you're not hay, then you're mate. You're dead. But also there's the inanimate, which was never high. So you have something that was never high, never alive, like a stone or a tree, etc. And you have something that might be now dead, but it was previously alive. Allah Ta'ala has to be alive because it's not valid that he would be inanimate, and it's not valid that he would be dead. So then what's the difference between the inanimate thing and the dead? I mean, what's the difference between being ignorant and not being attributed with knowledge. There's a difference between those. And there's a difference between being weak and not being attributed with power, etc. There's a difference between being deaf and not hearing, etc. Being blind and not seeing, being dumb and not speaking, which is the difference between being alive or not being alive. So if you're alive, if there's life, then life has a meaning. So if there's life, then there's also some other meanings, like knowledge or ignorance, or hearing and deafness, or sight and blindness. Without life, then those cases don't apply. Then that's just going to be some inanimate thing. It's not ignorant and it's not knowledgeable. It's not blind and it's not seeing either. Because it's not alive. So that's here. تقتضي صحة الاتصاف بالعلم والقدرة والإرادة. This attribute of life dictates the validity of being attributed with knowledge, power, and will, and other attributes. ومعنى القيوم الدائم ومعنى القيوم, and the meaning of al-qayyum is الدائم الذي لا يزول, the everlasting one who does not cease or does not vanish. فقد سمى الله نفسه بهذا الاسم. Allah named himself this name, Al-Qayyum. It's not permissible to give it to anyone else. وأما الدائم فمعناه الذي لا يلحقه ولا يجوز عليه الفناء. Concerning ad-da'im, the one who has dawam. Dawam means lastingness or remainder. Its meaning is the one whom fana, non-existence, does not catch him. So he wouldn't go out of existence. Nor is it possible for him. وَبِمَعْنَاهُ الْبَاقِي, and what has its meaning is the name Al-Baqi. That means the one who has baqa. Baqa means lasting or lastingness or remainder. لأنه يستحيل عليه الفناء عقلا, because impossible, because non-existence for him is impossible intellectually. ولا دائم بهذا المعنى إلا الله, and there is no everlasting one. There's no da'im with this meaning but Allah. فلا شريك لله تعالى في الديمومية, and so there is no partner for Allah in everlastingness, remainder without end, daymumiyah. لأن ديموميته استحقها لذاته, because his everlastingness, he deserves it because he's God. لا شيء غيره أوجب له ذلك. Nothing other than himself mandated that for him. وأما ديمومية غيره كالجنة والنار. And as for the everlastingness of others, like the garden and the fire, فهي ليست ذاتية. It is not intrinsic. It's not necessary. It's not due to themselves. It is not due to themselves. بل هما شاء الله لهما البقاء. Rather, those two, Allah willed for those two everlastingness. أما من حيث ذاتهما فيجوز عليهما عقلا الفناء. But concerning their selves, it is possible intellectually that they vanish. لكن ورد في الشرع بقاؤهما بنص القرآن والسنة النبوية وإجماع الأمة. However, there came in the sacred law their remainder by the explicit documentation of the Quran and the prophetic sunnah and the consensus of the nation. ولذلك فإن القول بفنائهما أو فناء النار دون الجنة أو بالعكس كفر. For that reason, indeed, saying that both of them vanish, or that hell shall vanish and not the garden, or vice versa, all of that is blasphemy. وقد قال ابن تيمية بفناء النار. And Ibn Taymiyyah, he said that the fire shall vanish. بعد أن ذكر في كتابه منهاج السنة النبوية أن المسلمين اتفقوا على بقاء الجنة والنار. After he mentioned in his book Minhaj as-Sunnati Nabawiyah that the Muslims have agreed about the everlastingness of the garden and the fire. وَأَنَّ جَهْمَ بْنَ صَفْوَانَ خَالَفَ فِي ذَلِكَ. And that Jahm ibn Safwan dissented in that case. فَقَالَ بِفَنَائِهِمَا. And he said that they do vanish. فَكَفَّرَهُ الْمُسْلِمُونَ. And so the Muslims deemed him a blasphemer. That's what Ibn Taymiyyah documented. فَحُكْمُهُ حُكْمُ جَهْمٍ فَكِلَاهُمَا كَافِرٌ. And so, since Ibn Taymiyyah said, like Jahm said, then the judgment that Ibn Taymiyyah confirmed for Jahm is confirmed for himself. And so both of them, each one of them is a kafir. قال المؤلف رحمه الله, said the author, may Allah have mercy on him. الخالق الرازق العالم القدير الفعال لما يريد ما شاء الله كان وما لم يشاء لم يكن. The creator, the sustainer or the provider, the knower, the powerful, very powerful, the doer of what he wills. What Allah willed shall be, and what he did not will shall not be. الشرح أن معنى الخالق أنه الذي أبدع وكون وأبرز جميع الكائنات من العدم إلى الوجود. The explanation is that the meaning of Al-Khaliq, the creator, is that he is the one who made without previous example and gave being to and manifested all of the created things from nothingness to existence. فلا خلق بهذا المعنى إلا لله. And so there is no creation by this meaning except for Allah. Or creating. So it would be good here if from now on you widen your scope of the word creation in English. So we have three words: creation, creating, created. We already learned, alhamdulillah, a few times the difference between the Maturidis and the Ash'aris here. And what helps to understand that difference is these words, is understanding these words. Because, so the Arabic word here, Bismillah, Sheikh says, the meaning of Al-Khaliq is the one who abda'a wa kawwana here. Kawwana. All these mean the same though. Abda'a, to make it without a previous example. Abraza, to manifest it. Kawwana, to give it being. To give it kawn. So, kawwana here, the source of this verb is takween. Takween. So the Ash'aris, they say takween. And the Maturidis, they say takween. But when the Ash'aris say takween, they mean created. So they're saying creation. It's a creation, meaning created. And when the Maturidis say takween, they mean creating. Creating. Takween. So creation, meaning creating. فَلَا خَلْقَ بِهَذَا الْمَعْنَى إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. There is no creation by this meaning, but for Allah, meaning creating. So then in English, if you said creation, and you just broaden your scope there a little bit, then that will help you understand the difference between Maturidis and Ash'aris in the case of takween. Insha'Allah. فما سوى الله تعالى حدث بخلقه تعالى وتكوينه وإبداعه. And so what was other than Allah, exalted is He, occurred by His creation. Exalted is He, yani His creating, and takwinihi, and His creation, His giving it being. وَإِبْدَاعِهِ, and His making it without any previous example. So someone might say His innovating it, if that's valid, means in the absolute sense, meaning He created it. فَالْخَلْقُ هُوَ الْإِبْرَازُ مِنَ الْعَدَمِ إِلَى الْوُجُودِ. And so, khalq, creation, it is manifesting from nothingness into existence. وَلَا خَلْقَ بِهَذَا الْمَعْنَى إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. And there is no creation by this meaning but for Allah. قال الله تعالى, said Allah, exalted is He. قُلِ اللَّهُ خَالِقُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Say, Allah is creator of everything. Be mindful here, though, that Al-Khaliq, this name of Allah, it is in the form of an adjective. Yes, so in a very literal sense, it's an adjective. It means the one who's described with khalq, doing khalq, or having khalq, being attributed with it, khaliq. But it's a name of Allah also. It is actually a name of Allah. It's not merely an adjective. That's one of His names, Al-Khaliq. that's a proper name. And also Ar-Rahman has the form of an adjective. That's proper name of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Yani, so قُلِ اللَّهُ خَالِقُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Say Allah is creator of everything. وَقَالَ وَاللَّهُ خَلَقَكُمْ وَمَا تَعْمَلُونَ. And he said, Allah said, what means, yani, saying what Abraham said, telling what Abraham said, that he said to the pagans, Allah created you and what you do. That means he created you and your deeds. That means, and your actions. And that doesn't right here, doesn't include like stone. A stone, that's not the deed of a human. A piece of wood, a block of wood, that's not the deed of a human. But Allah created that too. But if the human took that object and chiseled at it, Allah created what the human did. فالآيتان صريحتان في أن الله هو خالق الأجسام والأعمال. And so the two verses are explicit about Allah being the creator of the bodies and the actions or the deeds. لأن لفظ الشيء يشمل الجسم والأعمال. Because the expression shay, thing, something, it includes the body, yani substance, and the action, because it is something that occurred. So it's something. وَأَمَّا قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى. And concerning his saying, exalted is he, فَتَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنُ الْخَالِقِينَ. It appears to say, glorified and exalted, and the likes of those statements for Allah, أَحْسَنُ الْخَالِقِينَ. Looks like it says the best of creators. فَمَعْنَاهُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ أَحْسَنُ الْمُقَدِّرِينَ. Its meaning is that Allah is the best of those who do taqdeer. So here the translation doesn't really work. In Arabic it works, what the Shaykh wants to say, which is one of the meanings of khalq in Arabic is taqdeer. Taqdeer. This word taqdeer, it applies or is used for Allah and is also used for the creation, taqdeer in Arabic. But that one word, when you use it for Allah, you can't translate it the same way as when you use it for the creation. So, فَتَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنُ الْخَالِقِينَ. The best of those who have khalq. So there's a plural there. Then it would mean someone has khalq and Allah has the best of them. So how could that be? Like if khalq means taqdeer, because Allah has taqdeer, and it's also valid to say about a creation, he has taqdeer. So then Allah has the best of those who have or who do taqdeer. لأن تقديره لا يخطئ, because his taqdeer is destining, it will never be wrong. ولا يتغير, and it does not change. وتقدير غيره, and another's taqdeer is an estimation. يجوز عليه الخطأ, it could possibly be mistaken. والتغير, and also could be changed. فيجوز بهذا المعنى أي التقدير, and so it is possible by this meaning the meaning of taqdeer إطلاق الخلق على غير الله, using the word خلق for other than Allah. That clarifies the plural there. كما قال زهير الشاعر في وصف ممدوحه هرم بن سنان. Like Zuhair the poet said in describing whom he was praising, Harim, son of Sinan, وَلَأَنْتَ تَفْرِي مَا خَلَقْتَ وَبَعْضُ الْقَوْمِ يَخْلُقُ ثُمَّ لَا يَفْرِي. معناه أنت تقدر وتنفذ وبعض الناس يقدرون ولا ينفذون. أي أنت لك مزية بذلك. He's saying, certainly you come out with what you estimate, and some people, they estimate and they don't come out with what they estimate. Meaning you have a specialty in that. ويقال في اللغة خلقت الأديم حذاء، أي الجلد قدرته حذاء فقطعته وصنعته، أي أنفذت ما قدرت. And it is said in the language خلقت الأديم حذاء أي الجلد. So someone would probably want to translate that as I created the leather as a shoe. I created the leather as a shoe. But we're not going to say that. So it means قدرته حذاء فقطعته وصنعته means I planned it as a shoe. Like I did the measurements, for example, and then I cut, and then I made it. أنفذت ما قدرت, meaning I completed my estimation. كما أنه يأتي بمعنى التصوير. Okay. So I'll tell you what. Next time we'll start from the top here. Insha'Allah ta'ala. We'll stop here for now, insha'Allah. طيب. بارك الله فيكم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.